Hello, fellow human light beings. This is Mahadeva the Thunder Wizard. Welcome to the Thunder Wizard YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about what has been happening to me over the past 3 years, specifically so you can know what to expect. The title is Extraterrestrials Are Changing Me into a 5D Human Light Being Hybrid. How regular contact with higher dimensional extraterrestrials will change you. And of course the question is, am I human? The answer to that question is yes, I am. But what kind of human am I becoming? I'm definitely not the same person I was 3 years ago. Not spiritually, not psychologically at all. And I would say even physically. I would say that my DNA has begun shifting. And I'm going to be taking you through all the list of things that happen to me so that when you're doing this kind of work, if you have as intense of interactions as I have, which by the way is not the case for everybody, then you'll have a better understanding and you won't be alone. Before I go any further, it's really important that I get this out there. People have asked me to do this. I did it. Nobody's showed up yet. So this happens a lot. People will say, will you create this and will you do this? And I will create it and put it up if it's a product or a service or something, and then nobody shows up. So those of you who want this, I have created on the thunderwizard.com site, I have created live Zoom class and discussion group with me. Everybody is welcome. You have to subscribe here at the thunderwizard.com website, and it is connected to the sorry, I'm really distracted. I'm really sorry that there's this noise going on. This guy, whatever he's doing, he just started doing it just before I came online, so had I known, I wouldn't have even bothered to come on and do a live stream, but we'll see what happens. We'll even try and meditate through it. If it doesn't work, we'll chalk it up. But I can still talk through some good stuff, even if, you know, it's annoying the crap out of me. I've got a list. In any case, this group I have created specifically for people who are doing interdimensional meditations. You can come on even if you're not, but it's going to be a great place to communicate with other people, to create connections with people within the Thunder Wizard family. And you know, if you're going through whatever it is, whether you're doing the 90-day challenge because it'll be connected to the 90-day challenge, or if you're an apprentice, you already got access to that, you can do it as well. But if you're doing these practices, it's great to be able to live communicate with other people, ask questions, ask me questions. And also for people who are doing the interdimensional meditations, some of you are having some pretty intense, hardcore experiences. And so it's important to have a group to be able to bounce things off of when you hear somebody else explain something that you've been going through and you see it from another perspective. You know you're not crazy and it starts to make more sense to you. So that's available. You know, if you haven't done so already, please go to the thunderwizard.com site. Take a look at all of the subscription options, starting at $5 a month if you just want to say, thanks Mahadeva, and not just, you know, drag around as I do everything for free. And all the way up to, you know, working with me personally. And then we've got the shop. The shop, if you go to thunderwizard.com and click on the shop, you'll see all kinds of things. I just uploaded 6 videos based on my RUNE, extensive RUNE teaching series. You can go check those out, a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, take advantage of that. Go, at the very least, go take a look at it, because there's going to be a lot more stuff there. Anyway, let's get back to, oh, and if you're new to the channel, since I'm on this subject, go ahead, like, subscribe, comment. There's 2 free playlists I want you to check out, which is the Interdimensional Meditation and 12 Steps to 5D. And the Maoshan Qigong, all of that is being moved over to here. So if you're interested in powerful energy work, whether you want to subscribe at an affordable level and get the most powerful energy practice you can, press play and just follow along with the recorded version of me as I take you through multiple levels of very powerful meditative energy practices. Or if you want to just purchase a teaching by itself, a specific energy practice, meditation discipline by itself, you can do that at the shop. It's here for you, and every time you do that, I get to stay off the street. I'm heading back to the United States. It's costing me, you wouldn't believe how much money it's costing me to get back to the US and find a place to live. And so if you want to keep me from being homeless, it's helpful if you support the channel in any kind of way. I don't ask for donations. I always provide products and services. Go check it out at thunderwizard.com. All right, that's it. So today we are talking about extraterrestrials changing me into a 5D human light being hybrid. And I want to share with you how regular contact with ETs will change you. So let me just state right off the bat. If you don't know what exists, I didn't. I mean, I had some idea. I certainly had connections energetically. I've been doing energy practice my whole life and meditation my whole life. So I have had energy experiences. I have had supernatural experiences. So I knew that was there, but really what it was, I couldn't have really been able to tell you other than what my instincts were and what I learned from my experiences, and of course what you read in spiritual texts. Everything I know about the spirit world comes from direct experience. I'm not guessing. It's not my opinion. I'm not parroting what I read in a book. I'm not doing what I've been doing a lot of my career, which is, making observational beliefs and teachings, which turned out to be true. None of that is happening. I have direct access to all of it. We're talking anything that's beyond the third dimension, whether it's a being, whether it's an extraterrestrial, a physical being, whether it's a spirit, whether it's a deity, whether it is the source itself. I can tell you from experience exactly what this is. So if you have questions, if you don't know what any of this stuff is, what I am committing this channel to doing is giving you a personal experience. I'm not a teacher in the normal sense. I am a tour guide. When you come onto my channel, we're going to get on a tour bus, and I'm going to take you and physically take you to the places, astrally take you to the places where you can experience it for yourself. You won't have to take my word for anything. People, on my viral, short videos that I've got all over, on a daily basis, I get comments like, prove it to me. And I don't need to prove it to you. You can prove it for yourself. And that's what I want for you. If you want to just go and listen to somebody talk, if you want to go listen to, without naming any names, somebody who's going to go into a fit and then claim to channel some being or higher dimensional extraterrestrial, and you just want to take their word for it, go right ahead. No shortage of that. Some of it's actually good stuff. A lot of it is complete nonsense, and some of it is just pure, frosting. You want to experience it yourself? I'm doing that. And I don't think there's anybody that is doing it as regularly as I am. There's other people out there that do this kind of stuff, but there's no other, and I'm not competing, but there's no other place where you can just show up on almost a daily basis and have somebody take you onto a tour bus out into the higher dimensions where you can communicate and interact with beings yourself. So that is my challenge to you. If you want to experience it, then I'm telling you how to do it, and I will do it with you. You want to know from personal experience what it's like to be in higher dimensions? If you want to change yourself on every possible conceivable level, that is what I am committed to doing here. Now, I can't guarantee what kind of experience you have, and I have no need to create an experience for you. You can create that for yourself. But I mean, it's been proven to me. I have no doubts about what I'm doing and what I'm talking about, and I have zero doubt that anybody who applies themselves will have experiences. So if you want that, I welcome you. Come on in and check us out. All right, so let's get into the list here. So my experiences from daily interaction with light beings. So let me just give you a little, get you up to speed. For those of you, if you're new to the channel, go on to the playlist called Aliens in my YouTube channel and click on the video, How I Became an Extraterrestrial. And you will find out what happened to me. Well, actually, what I did to myself. Nothing happened to me. I chose to do it. And you'll find out how I started interacting with higher dimensional beings of light. And you can see the video and the audio evidence that I was, in fact, in direct communication with a higher dimensional being. And then you hear about some of the crazy stuff that happened right after that. And so after that, that was in June of 2022. After that happened, there was, I'm going to say anywhere, at least 3 months, but it could have been 6 months of daily visitations from higher dimensional beings, including all of the people in my life who had passed away. My mother, my father, my sister, my fiance, all of them had passed away, some of them very recently. They all came to visit me. These beings opened up a portal to other dimensions and other energies, and I have never been the same. I have direct access to these realms 24/7. Sometimes it's stronger than others, especially if it's at night or if there's a solar storm hitting the earth. I've got, the reception is just crazy strong. But any other time, I mean, right now, if I chose to, I can get a direct connection and a communication. So I'm not saying that's going to happen to everybody. It's going to happen based on your karma, your dharma, and your desire. Now, I have proven to myself that what I'm experiencing isn't something that was necessarily part of my destiny. But being the kind of person that I am, I'm very pig-headed, and when I get an idea and I want something, I go after it until, I either die or I get it. And I decided that I wanted to find out, did these beings exist and what were they? And I wanted to know how far I could take it. And I told them so. I said, I'm going to take this as far as I can, even if it kills me. And I wouldn't let them alone. So the level of experiences I'm having is not necessarily what you're going to have, but if you want it, you can have it. And the reason for that is because we are in an absolutely unprecedented time in human history. Never in human history has there been what is happening to the third dimension. Never in human history have human beings, every single human being, had the opportunity to completely shift out of this third dimensional reality. This is something that's never happened before. And it's because the third dimension is coming to an end. So if you want to have that, you can. And if you're willing to put the effort in, but it's up to you. To the extent that you want to have it is what's going to happen. Now, we'll get into it. We'll get into some of the other things. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here, and apparently boring the hell out of people because a lot of people have left the live stream. So let's go ahead and get into the list here. So these are my experiences of daily interaction with light beings. First one was feeling completely seen and loved more than ever before. This is something that is universal. Anybody that interacts with these beings, the first thing that you experience is an unbelievably powerful love. If they're being kind to you, like they don't want to push you too far, you will just get this sort of warm, loving feeling. If they're wanting to connect with you on a deeper level, you're going to feel a love and and an intimate spiritual and emotional connection that is so condensed and so powerful, it completely eclipses anything you've ever felt. This was my first experience. And you can see that in the video. In fact, it was such an intense experience, I was barely holding myself together. I was on the verge of just collapsing to my knees and just bawling like an infant. And anyway, you can hear that in the video if you ever go see it. So that's definitely something, and I want to, before I start talking about the other weird stuff, that's the most important and the basic thing, and that is their intent. The intent of any being higher than the third dimension, when they want to connect with you, their first intention is to make you feel known and loved. I can also tell you that from their perspective, they do know you. They remember you before you incarnated. If you interact with a being, that being has known you. That being has known you perhaps for trillions of years. You have been on other planets, in other dimensions with that being. You have a connection with them far beyond what your human mind can even begin to understand. So I have compassion for them because they're looking at their family member, somebody that they love very, very deeply, and that person doesn't remember them. And that person might even be frightened at the thought of them. So for them, it's one of the things you'll notice with them is that, their enthusiasm. By there, I don't mean just extraterrestrials. I mean ETs, I mean light beings, I mean spirits, I mean those that have passed, anybody that's outside of the third dimension. Because of the nature of where they are, their feelings are far, far, far more intense than yours. And so they remember you. For instance, like if you have an experience with an ancestor, like your grandparents or something like that, they're not only going to remember you when they were physically here, but they're going to remember before that. They're going to remember all of the lives that you have had where you were their grandparent, or you were their brother, their sister, or maybe their spouse. They're going to remember all of that stuff. And they're going to be filled with just incredible love for you, on top of the awareness that they have of how challenging it is for you to be here in the third dimension. And they have so much compassion, so much love. So their enthusiasm is very intense. And that can be frightening if you don't know what the hell's going on. There's this being that's beaming such intense feelings, and the energies coming from a higher dimension. That can really kind of throw you off. But if you're open to it and you allow yourself to just accept it, you're going to feel love like you've never felt before in your entire human existence. So that's my first experience. The second one is experiencing intense, powerful feelings of bliss and higher dimensional energy. So you hear me talk a lot about the higher dimensional energy and how crazy that feels and strange, but what I don't focus enough is how blissful it is. And there's, I can kind of break it up into at least two different kinds. There's a whole spectrum, but there's the intense feeling of just higher dimensional energy, which we get every time we get a solar event hits us. If you've noticed that during solar events, you might feel some anxiety or some intensity, that's a higher dimensional energy hitting you. And the body responds to that by first feeling anxious and not knowing why. But if you relax into that anxiety and realize that there's nothing really bothering you, then what you realize what's happening is that your energy is shifting up to a higher frequency, and that can be incredibly blissful. So here's the thing I want to tell you, people who do ayahuasca, people who do DMT, I'm not going to talk about other hallucinogens because those those really do other things. But ayahuasca and DMT, people who do those, or even people who are doing things like, THC, things like that. When people take those external chemicals and their experiences that they have a spiritual experience, I'm here to tell you what's really going on. What's really going on is that they consciously know that they are ingesting a chemical that's going to alter their perception. That gives them the excuse to tell themselves, I'm going to have a different experience. And the physical sensation of the hallucinogen makes them accept and relax into the higher dimensional experience. But the reality is that the higher dimensional experience is not created by the chemical. The chemical is the excuse that your brain uses to turn off its intellectual examination of what is happening. Is this real? Am I losing my mind? Am I sick? Just to give you an example, THC is a very powerful stimulant, very powerful. It doesn't calm you down. Yet what happens? People take it, they fall asleep. They take it and they feel relaxed, even though if they were to sit with themselves, their heart would be racing. They can feel the blood pulsing through their, I did my share of it, blood pulsing through your neck veins. So what's happened, and that's why a lot of people get paranoid, because it's a stimulant, among other reasons. So when you take THC and you feel like you've had a deep meditative experience, it has nothing to do with the THC. In fact, the THC is working against you. The only thing that's happening is that you are allowing yourself to accept a higher dimensional experience. That's it. Same thing with ayahuasca. Ayahuasca has DMT in it, and the truth is you don't need to externally take DMT, because when you do, you actually make your brain less capable of naturally creating it, which, by the way, is the opposite of the things that I teach you here in the 90-day challenge. All of the practices, all of the meditations will increase your body's ability to increase DMT naturally. You can release far more DMT without ingesting anything than if you do. But the reason why, if you're not taking a hallucinogen, the reason why your experience is you can't break through to the other side is because you don't have an excuse to let go. Your instinct is to create a barrier. Your mind believes that if you don't create this third dimensional barrier, you will die. So this is why when people are on their deathbed, what happens? They start seeing spirits, not because anything's different. It's just they're ready to go, so they release their protection. So for these beings to connect with you, sometimes they can't get through. And it's not because the experience isn't available to them. It's that your third dimensional reality, your third dimensional protective mechanism won't let go. I know that's what happened to me. If I wasn't so pig-headed about it, I wouldn't have had an experience. I did CE5 the first time. Not only did lights appear and fly around, not only was I getting telepathic messages, in fact, I have recording. I have a audio recording of a being responding to me when I said, "Is anybody here?" I couldn't hear it. I couldn't see it. There was a light flying around me. I've got it on video. I couldn't see it. It's because my protection barrier was up. I did it a second time and the same thing. I had some stuff, but I talked myself out of it. The third time, when you see it on the video, it was so undeniable, I had to accept it, and then I completely flipped out. But that's only because I had never experienced it before. And I didn't know what it was, and I saw all the stupid, alien movies and thought I was going to get abducted and all that other stuff, which of course didn't happen. So how did I get on that? Experiencing intense, powerful feelings of bliss and energy. So what will happen if you're successful is that you at some point will feel an energy come through you that is it feels like you're stoned. It's really blissful. It feels really good, but it makes you go. And it's a higher dimensional energy. That's how these beings are all the time. They live in this constant state of just being stoned out of their mind with the bliss of higher dimensional. It's energy. It's pure consciousness. Consciousness is the greatest drug there is. And so these beings are just, live with that. And so when they send emotions to you, you'll get this really blissful, intense feeling. At the other spectrum, there will be just intense feelings of energy. I've talked about this before in terms of the symptoms you can expect, but one of them is you'll feel a pressure on your chest. At first, you'll think you're having a hard time breathing. That's your body trying to make sense of what it's experiencing, because it feels like some weight is on your chest. When you really analyze it, you realize, wait, actually there isn't a weight on my chest. This is just an electromagnetic. It's like an electromagnetic barrier is pushing on your 3D, aura. And so once you realize that and you go, wait, I can breathe. But your body thinks it can't. It'll stop. You might even stop breathing. But you don't have to. And it goes away. Once you've experienced it and you get past it, it's sort of like you realize you can breathe underwater. If you have gills, it's sort of like you realize, oh, I can breathe. And then that feeling of pressure on the chest changes to something else. It just changes to, you can feel this energy going into your heart center and your heart center expanding. So I don't feel that pressure on my chest anymore. Some things will happen, especially if a physical higher dimensional being is going to phase into or physically come into my presence. Just to let you know, there can be a being in a higher dimension or even in a shifted up version of 3D, and they can be in your physical presence, but you won't see them and you won't hear them, and you can walk right through them. That doesn't mean that they're not there. And so one of the things that can happen, which happened with me, is that if especially a powerful physical higher dimensional extraterrestrial comes in the room, my right ear will start to close, or I'll get ringing in both of the ears. Maybe you feel like a pressure in your ear. And that is, again, higher dimensional electromagnetic energy sort of, interacting with your frequency. Those are all signs that somebody's there, with you. If, a higher dimensional being is physically in the room with you. So when they come into the room, I can feel it. I can feel their energy, and I know that I'm in the presence. And when they communicate, there will be a wave of energy that hits me, and all kinds of things. Sometimes I'll get goosebumps. Just that chills up and down your body. It all depends on them. I haven't been one of them yet, so I don't know exactly what's going on with them. I can only tell you what my experience is. The experience of having my reality completely destroyed. All right, so I needed to get the good stuff in there before I got into this. You need to understand that the energy is completely loving. It's the most loving experience you've ever had. That might be intense if you've been traumatized, if you've never truly been loved. There's nothing more intense and sometimes, scary than being completely loved. It can be a very frightening experience. But the fear is the fear of, the fear of being rejected. Our fear of rejection is very intense. This is why when people fall in love, they sabotage relationships, because if it's going really good, they'll sabotage it, because to be at that place where you've never been, to be loved beyond what you're used to, the fear of rejection comes up, and then you sabotage it because, you know, you'd rather go out on your terms than have them leave you. So you have to learn to trust. What was I saying? Experience of having my reality completely destroyed. So I wanted to give you the positive stuff first. But what happens with a lot of people right after that is you become aware that your understanding of reality is inaccurate, at best is incomplete, if not completely inaccurate. You know, I have compassion because if you have been following my channel for more than, 3 years, you remember that I was, even though I was a spiritual teacher and I, talked about really out there spiritual stuff, I was fully, completely blue-pilled into the narrative. I believed the narrative. I didn't think that, I didn't believe that everybody, I didn't think that there was, a complete lack of corruption in the world. I knew that there was, but I believed the narrative. I believed what we were being told about all kinds of things. And when you start to understand that your understanding of the narrative comes apart, it can be very frightening. And, I've communicated with people, and I never try and force this understanding on anybody because I didn't believe it. So I don't expect other people to drop their disbelief. But all you have to do is just ask a couple of questions. And I did this recently. Somebody that just didn't want to believe any of the stuff that, I was into, and saying, you're into these conspiracy theories and I'm not into that. And we were talking about something specific, and I said, well, what would you do if you knew that your understanding was false? And then they sort of made this half-baked remark, and they didn't get, and then they finally said, and the reason is because I just can't believe that people are that evil. I can't believe that the world is this controlled by, this evil force of people, on Skull Island or whatever, that was kind of their response. And I didn't take it beyond that because they didn't ask. But if they had asked, I would have said, well, your thinking is not very critical. You're not using critical thinking here. What you've said to me is that emotionally, you don't like the idea of these things. And so therefore, you're going to decide they're not true. Not because, and this person also said, I'm not willing to look at, evidence that you're providing me. And so I would have said, so what you've told me is your belief is more important to you than the truth. And your belief that there aren't really evil people in the world is more important to you than whatever the truth is. They didn't ask, but I would have said, I want to know the truth more than I want to be comfortable. Now, when you have this kind of experience, that starts to become a reality. You become very aware that your understanding of reality is completely inaccurate, and there are things that you are emotionally attached to, and you didn't realize you had an emotional attachment to how you believed the way things were. That will come crashing down, and that might be a challenge that you'll have to get through. Again, another reason why I've got this live Zoom class and discussion group, because many of you will be going through that. You're going to need to communicate with other people, and we can create our own consensus, because in order to keep from going crazy, we need to have a consensus. We need to be able to, to reality check. And if, I was doing this all alone. I didn't have anybody. I don't know that anybody's gone through what I went through. If they have, I couldn't find them. I couldn't find anybody that I knew. I tried to talk about. They'd like, I've never been through that. I have no idea what you're talking about. I feel for you, but I don't know what that's about. And so, it's important to have other people to, have a reality consensus. So again, I invite all of you to go check out this discussion group that we're doing. Hopefully, nobody's signed up for it yet. So hopefully it'll happen. Let's keep going. So having my reality completely destroyed, feeling as though I would disappear. This was, I I would break into tears thinking about this. Just the feeling that I would completely disappear. Just now, I can tell you, of course I didn't. Not only did I not disappear, but I'm here more than ever. Not only did my ego, my identity not disappear, I have an even stronger, more powerful identity than I did before. And I would say a more accurate identity than I had before. And so, sorry, I got distracted by one of the comments, so I got to cover that up so I don't get distracted. The feeling of disappearing is actually my current understanding of myself. I was so attached to my current understanding of myself that was coming apart. And so the feeling that I was going to disappear into nothing was a distortion of the experience I was having, that my current identity was being deleted and replaced. That's a real thing, and that can be a very intense experience. So, that's something that might happen to you depending. And again, it might not. There's a lot of people that they're having, the experiences they're having with the higher dimensional beings don't go to the same places that I've gone. A lot of the things are the same. The feelings of the energy are the same. The way that the communications happen are the same. The feeling of being loved and seen and accepted. All of that is everybody's experience. Some people have more intense experience than others, and some people have specific karma and specific destinies that the higher dimensional beings are aware of, and they're like, we're going to help you remember who you really are. And that, if it's a really intense thing, it's going to be, there's going to be some days when you're going to be wondering what the hell's going on. Who the hell am I? Feeling like a traitor to the human species. I had that experience, and I'm not the only person doing this that had that experience. At least a couple other people. And this is something that goes away very quickly, but it's one of the first things that pops up, and it's associated with the same need to identify with the narrative. This is what people don't understand. People, this the person I was talking about who was like, I can't understand, it doesn't make sense to me that there would be, and I would have said the same thing, by the way. It doesn't make sense to me that there would be this, this worldwide, net of evil people that are, engaged in human trafficking, engaged in slavery, engaged in death, murder, mayhem, and all of this stuff, creating false plagues and all that stuff. It doesn't make any sense to me. How could they pull that off? I was saying the same thing. But again, the guy didn't ask me, but if he did, I would have said, so do you remember Pol Pot? Do you remember, what do you think of Lenin? What do you think of Stalin? What do you think of Hitler? What do you think of Chinese communist government? I mean, you would probably agree that all of those situations contained one group or a small group of very powerful people who did really horrible, evil things and did nothing but control, destroy, kill. If you know anything about Pol Pot, the guy in wherever that was, Southeast Asia, go look at what he did. I'm not even going to mention what he did. It was so unbelievably horrific, the things that he did to infants. I mean, so, he would have to acknowledge, okay, that exists. So I would say, so the only thing that you don't want to accept is that it might be your society. It might be your government that's doing that. That's the part that you emotionally can't accept. And so, again, I'm judging this person, I'm analyzing them. But from my perspective, the need to be part of the narrative, the need to be accepted and be part of the group and be safe, safety in numbers. This is why, we call people sheep, because if you're a sheep, the safest place to be is in the middle of the herd. You don't want to be an outlier. You want to be in the middle of the herd. And this is, during the whole, that people who ran after that and wouldn't look at any evidence to the contrary. It's because of the need to be accepted by the group and feel safe in the group. This is why your cat wants to curl up next to you. This is why your dog wants to curl up next to you in the middle of the night, because the closer you are to the group, the safer you are. So that's an emotional attachment. And when you start to shift your understanding, and your understanding of just reality and the narrative comes apart, you may start having a feeling like you are a traitor to your people. I had this feeling, it was very strong. That's why I named my book. Again, if you're new to the channel, I have books. You can go to michaelwilliamdenny.com, DENNEY, and I've written 2 books on these experiences. And in one of them, I deliberately called it the interdimensional revolution, because I was at that place where I was like, this is a revolution. I'm not a traitor in the traditional sense, like I'm turning on people to harm them, but I am rebelling. And if somebody feels that me rebelling against the narrative turns me into a traitor, they might think that of me. But I was deliberately facing that fear and overcoming it by saying, yes, I am choosing to rebel against this understanding of the narrative. So that is something that might come up. Feeling like a traitor to the human species. While all this crazy stuff is going on, I'm having greater physical and mental health. Now this again, I've got a litmus test for life, and I tell everybody this. A lot of people who come to me, and a lot of people do this with all spiritual teachers, is they want to feel better, understandably. Nobody likes being in pain or afraid. So people will come to me and they will expect that my teachings or my practices will make them feel better. When in reality, you might have to actually release a lot of unresolved trauma and some unresolved feelings, and you won't feel good. There will be days that you will be having an initiatory experience, which means that all of your unresolved pain and feelings are coming to the surface and being released. So, I tell people it's not about how you're feeling in this moment. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the practice you're doing is good or bad. So when you can't tell what's going on because you're having a lot of feelings, then here are the 3 litmus test questions. Are you healthier? Are you happier generally? And are you more prosperous? And if you're at least 2 out of those 3, you're going in the right direction. You might be having a lot of uncomfortable feelings. You might be having some fear, some sadness, some pain. You might have a lot of that come up. But if you can say, I am physically healthier, I'm emotionally happier generally, psychologically, I'm doing a lot better, and I'm moving in the direction of prosperity. If you got that going on, you're going in the right direction. Now, however, if you stick a needle in your neck and you put yourself into a false state of bliss because there's drugs running through your system, I can guarantee you're not healthier, you're not happier, and you're not more prosperous. But you might be feeling okay at the moment. So this is something that really helped me as I went through this, because all these things were happening again. I had nobody to bounce off of who had gone through this. So I had to go back to the litmus test, and I was constantly checking myself physically, emotionally, and financially. Was my life getting better? Objectively speaking, was my life going in a better direction? And one of the overwhelming things that happens is that my health I was healthy before. My health has increased. I'm healthier now than I was. And my psychological perspective, I've healed from so many deep-seated, psychological wounds. In fact, those first 3 months, I feel like I was healed of lifetimes of karma, stuff that would have taken me more lifetimes to get through. All that stuff was lifted. And I had to go through intense release for that. But, I'm so much more comfortable and happy psychologically. So getting greater physical and mental health is definitely something that you can expect. Increased spiritual and psychic sensitivity. So I have far greater sensitivity spiritually and psychically. As I said, if I choose to right now, if I wanted to, I could easily make contact with my guides, with higher dimensional beings. During, just about every single live stream, they're connecting with me, especially when I'm doing something that they think is, really makes them happy. I can feel them getting really happy. And, their energy. Sometimes the energy is very intense. It's kind of hard to stay in your body. So that's going on. I'm much more, psychically in tune. I'm not saying that I'm perfect on that front, because I'm not. I don't think anybody is. And I don't consider myself a psychic, just to let you know. I'm not a psychic or a channeler. I'm none of those things, or a prophet. But this is a direct result of just, continuous interaction with this higher dimensional energy. And I think you can have that as well. Obviously feeling as though I was losing my sanity. I wanted to put that, later after I'd given the positive stuff, because that is definitely one of the first things that happened. And I do have a therapist who's also a spiritual teacher. And so I check in with him. And he's the only person that knows everything that has been revealed to me, or at least that I have interpreted as being revealed to me. And part of it is because it's so far beyond the third dimension that if I began talking about it, I think it would alienate people, or, make people, compare me, or I'd think I'm comparing them to, anyway. So until I know that it's going to be helpful, some of that information is going to stay with me. But I definitely question my sanity a lot, on a daily basis. I questioned if I was sane. And the reason for that is, again, very simple. The third dimension is an illusion. So sanity in the third dimension means believing the illusion. When you start to see beyond the illusion, you're technically insane, because you're not part of the collective narrative. Just the collective narrative of what reality is. I know now, this isn't a belief. I know from personal experience, the third dimension is a bizarro world. It's a completely upside down world. It's the complete opposite. It's the mirror shadow opposite of higher dimensional experience. Once you get out of the third dimension, everything that we associate with the third dimension is gone. Feeling isolated, not being able to know what other people are thinking and feeling, not feeling alone in the universe. If you look around and you can't see or feel anything, you think you're all by yourself. You're not. Trust me, you are not. You are never alone, ever. You are connected to so many beings and just consciousness itself. So that's something that once you get out of the third dimension, that experience of being isolated completely disappears. Having to fear other beings and other people. In the third dimension, you have to be afraid of animals. Animals could attack you. Bugs bite you, bears, lions, tigers, alligators, snakes. These things come after you and they want to harm you. And there are people that want to harm you. If given the opportunity, they will harm you. They will steal from you. They will take from you. They will emotionally abuse you. There are real risks in the third dimension of being harmed by other people, by other beings. And that is a complete anomaly. But you don't know that until you've experienced it. That's why anybody who comes to me and wants to make the argument that, not all ETs are good, the moment they say that, I know they've never been out of the third dimension. They might have had some experience with something, but they haven't been out of the third dimension. I know it. It's just, there's no point in even talking to them, especially if they want to come. People want to come and want to debate me over stuff. But the moment that they say anything that has anything to do with higher dimensional beings being dangerous, or the possibility that they're dangerous, I know you've never been out of the third dimension, and I'm not going to waste any time on you. You want to do the practices I do, you can find out for yourself. But, that's one thing I know. That is unique to the third dimension and below. The threat of being harmed by another consciousness only exists here. It's a complete opposite bizarro world, meaning there's zero risk. What you do have to be afraid of, the real risk, is the death of your third dimensional identity. And that is very real. And so a lot of people conflate that fear with the fear of harm. Because when a being comes to you that is in a higher dimensional state and you are attached to your third dimension, and your third dimensional identity starts to come apart, if you aren't aware of what's happening, your first response will be to be afraid and think that something's trying to kill you, even though that's not happening. This is why extraterrestrials cannot make direct contact with you without you first reaching out to them. Because just by the fact of you reaching out to them, you are open to having an experience that goes different from what you believe to be true. And so when it does happen, you won't be as afraid, because you'll go, okay, I knew that this was going to happen. This is different. What's happening here? But if you're going along in your third dimensional reality, in your third dimensional narrative, in your third dimensional, whatever it is, your identity of my name is so-and-so, I was born here, I'm good at this, I'm bad at that, I'm afraid of this, these people like me, those don't, those are all constructs, those are all creations of the illusion. None of those things are true. It's a made-up fictional character. But if you believe that fictional character is real, if an extraterrestrial from a higher dimension, which by the way, by definition, all of them are, if they were to break through the third dimensional barrier and connect with you, you would be frightened, because you wouldn't be prepared for it. And it would literally be a destruction of your reality. And nobody experiences that without having fear. So that's why, if you want to know why, people ask, why haven't we made contact? Why aren't ETs? Because if they were to shift out of the third dimension and land, just being in their presence would flip people out so badly that the ETs can't do it. They love you. The last thing that they're going to do is cause you harm, pain, or fear. They try. Every now and then they'll try. And a lot of times people just flip out. So they don't. But again, I want you to put yourself in their position. You're outside of the matrix. You're outside of the video game. The person that you've known for thousands of years, who was your father in a past life, who was your fellow ET in another life, that you've known and you love so deeply. In fact, they came to you and said, I'm going to go to Earth and I'm going to be a human. And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to come and monitor Earth so I can watch and be there in case you need my help. You're that person, and then you go to that person that was your best friend and they flip out and they hate you. They run away from you. They run away from you screaming because your energy is so frightening to them. That's what it's like for them. I have a lot of compassion for them. They want so badly to connect with us, but they don't want to harm us. Sometimes they get, really excited, and they'll kind of go in there and poke to see if you want to talk, and you'll flip out, and they go, okay, all right, sorry. But it's once you understand what's happening, it becomes a lot easier. It takes time to get used to it, but it gets a lot easier. Feeling as though I was losing my sanity. All right. Slow integration of 5D identity with current 3D avatar. This is where you want to get to. It takes a while. And it's a slow integration. And it's exactly what it is. It's an integration of your 5D identity. So your true identity is not here in the third dimension. You won't find it. If you write a 1,000-page book about your life and your experiences and who you are, none of that is your true identity. Not even close. It's a script. This is why it gets a lot easier not to take things personally. You know, it's a lot easier not to get wrapped up in your own nonsense, because whenever that happens, I go, okay, that's my script. That's not me at all. None of that really bothers me. You know, like I get annoyed at certain things. You guys have seen that. That's my character script. And that's why if you've been watching, you know, for a while, you've seen that I've dropped a lot of those things. I've dropped a lot of the, you know, the cranky teacher thing. I mean, I still have some of it, but a lot of it's gone. And it's because I realized that's a character I wrote. That's not real. That really doesn't bother me. That's just the character I've been playing. And so, what was I saying? Integration. So I'm using those words very, very consciously, as you see here. 5D identity versus 3D avatar. So my true identity in the fifth dimension is completely, totally beyond. I'm not going to say different, because obviously some things are similar on a far, far reduced level. But it's so far beyond anything that I currently experience as my 3D character that you can't even make, you know, a real connection there. So my 3D avatar, just like when you play a video game, you create an avatar. It's not you, it's a made-up avatar that you use to play the game that has all the limitations, you know, has these strengths and these limitations. None of those things are true about you. That's just what you've programmed into your avatar. But my true identity, my 5D identity, that's who I truly am. Now, it is a challenge. I won't lie to you. It is a challenge to expand while in this third dimensional experience, to expand myself into that 5D person that I experience when I go off into the ethers. But it's a slow process, and it can be done. And that is how I recommend you look at it. That you're expanding, you know, you're deleting this. Again, the fear that I was going to disappear was accurate. My 3D avatar has to disappear for me to expand into my 5D identity while I'm still walking around in a human body. Now, the end result of that is that your human body is going to change. You are going to start, you know, because, you know, my 5D identity is not limited in any way whatsoever. So the more that I expand into my 5D identity, the more that my 3D avatar starts to disappear, along with the limitations, along with the physical limitations, along with health limitations, along with psychological limitations. All that stuff goes away. You expand into who you truly are. And I'm here to tell you that any human being, I haven't got there yet to the best of my knowledge, but any human being that can fully replace their 3D avatar character with their true 5D identity, they will be a living God. They will be able to walk through walls, they'll be able to levitate, they'll be able to do anything that they choose. They will not be limited by anything. All the stories about the Babajis of the world and even the Jesus character, you know, all of that stuff is absolutely attainable. The only thing you have to do, it's very simple, is you have to replace your 3D avatar with your true 5D identity. And that is what the higher dimensional beings are wanting to do for you, if you let them. If you're willing to be seen by them, and if you're willing to believe what they tell you, if you're willing to accept the love that they give you, you will be on that path towards becoming that God in the flesh. Just like superheroes. There's a reason why superheroes are so popular. You know, again, the same guy that I was talking to that was, you know, was very kindly, he wasn't attacking me, but he was very kindly saying, I don't buy into all of that, and here are the reasons why. And he even said, you know, it sounds like a comic book. And I said, it's worse than a comic book. It's more unbelievable than a comic book. I was agreeing with him. It's totally freaking nuts. Yeah, you're right. Doesn't make any sense, doesn't fit into any of our understanding of reality. But on the same token, there's a reason why. There's a reason why we're into superheroes. Because intuitively, we know that we could become that. We know that. We feel it. The only requirement is you have to replace your 3D avatar with your actual 5D identity, and when that happens, you will be a superhero. Guaranteed. And I couldn't be more literal than that. I'm not being symbolic. Greater comprehension of the multidimensional nature of reality. And this is where you start to relax. All of the fears go away. The fears of the unknown, the fears of the future, the fears of the afterlife. Now listen, I'm still a physical human person, and I don't want to experience pain. So I would be frightened if, you know, my physical body were threatened with death, because I don't want to go through the pain of physically dying. And my physical self wants to hold on to 3D life. So I would have those fears. I want to be clear about that. I'm not, you know, I wouldn't be able to just walk up to somebody that had a gun pointed at me and go ahead, shoot, I don't care. I would be afraid. I'm going through some big financial changes, so I'm frightened on a financial level. I'm obsessed with getting my channel up and running and getting more viewers and getting my, you know, so I don't end up on the street. That's a real fear. So I'm not free of all that. But in terms of my actual, am I afraid of the afterlife? No. Am I afraid of dying? No. Am I afraid of what happens if I go into the light? What happens when I die? You know, is there a hell? Is there purgatories and bardos? Are there places where I have to be worried? Do I have to die right? You know, you hear all the time people say, the thought you're thinking when you die determines where you go. That's nonsense. The truth about that is that you should take full responsibility for what you focus on and what you think about. And certainly if you're thinking, you know, about being in heaven at the time of death, it's going to make your transition easier. But you know, we're talking like a split second of confusion. People do go to places very rarely that we call hells, but it's only because they're just so full of guilt and shame that they take themselves there. Nobody forces you there or puts you there. But in terms of, do I have any doubts about what is beyond? None. And it's not because I have a strong belief or a faith in a religion. It's because I've been there. I've been there, and I've talked to people who have died that I knew. And so now I know what's waiting for us, all of us. And it's absolute, unbelievable heaven. It's absolute bliss beyond your wildest dreams, and that's true for everybody. There isn't anybody that doesn't have that unless they choose otherwise. So this is one of the great things about this experience that, again, I don't think that human beings have had, because it wasn't part of the 3D experiment. In order to gather data for this experiment, people have to believe that they're in this isolated 3D thing, and then they have to try and find their spiritual essence in that, and that's the whole point. And so needing to have a religion and needing to have a belief and having faith but not knowing, that is a 3D experiment, and you gather data by doing that. But that is the experiment is being shelved, which is why, you know, the customer service, the people in the lab are knocking on the, you know, okay, experiment's over. No, none of that's true anymore. No, see, look, it's infinite. No, it's blissful. No, come on out, guys. That's why this is happening. It's the first time in history, because this thing's coming to an end. So, I mean, I wish everybody would do this, because it would change everything. We would drop all the nonsense. Drop all of it. Once you know what exists, and you're not like worried about your fears because you know what exists, you stop doing a lot of stupid things. Knowing my place in the family of light in the multiverse. That is, without a doubt, the most beautiful part of all this. To know that you are part of a family. This is the sad part about the fake alien abductions, that are happening, which, by the way, alien abductions do happen. They are not done by extraterrestrials. They are done by humans with extremely powerful technology and stagecraft. And they do all kinds of really crazy paranormal things, but they're doing it with technology. That does happen. And the sad part about that is it reinforces our 3D experience of being isolated and alone and needing to fear other consciousness. And the feeling that you're not part of a family. This is what religion does. It gives people a feeling that you're part of a family. But one of the things that's going to happen is that religion is going to go away. Because we won't need it anymore. We won't need it because we won't need that belief system to help us stay in the third dimension and not completely lose all hope. Once you know that you are part of an infinite family of light beings, and that there's, like in the third dimension, you could end up homeless. You could end up discarded, homeless, and alone, and dying alone and starving to death. That is something that happens in the third dimension. In higher dimensions, there is no such thing. There is never a place or a time when you aren't supported and loved. In fact, all you have to do is just think about wanting to connect, and infinite numbers of your family members will instantly be there. And they will absolutely just shower you with nothing but love. I kid you not. This more than a few times they sing to me. I'll show up and they'll burst into song. I was trying to communicate with one yesterday. Because I'm having some issues and I'm wanting some help. And sometimes when I'm emotionally stimulated, I can't interpret correctly what's being said, and I'm like, I really need you to communicate this better. And sorry, this being started just singing, and the song, I forget the guy who did it, "You Are So Beautiful to Me," just started singing that, and just being filled with all this bliss, and the message was really clear. But my brain was able to latch onto the song and then sing along with it. And the message was just really clear, that you got nothing to worry about. Got nothing to worry about. So if you want that, you can have that. But you have to ask for it. You have to make the decision to ask for it. So that's where the interdimensional meditation comes in. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We've gotten through everything yet. So the construction people have stopped making noise. So we'll go ahead and do a meditation right now. And so if you'd like to join me, you can. Again, before we get into it, I want you to know what my goal is. My goal for this channel is that everybody know what I know through their own experience. And I want to get as many people as I can onto these live guided meditations. I don't care if you watch them live or recorded, but imagine what would happen to the world if we had millions of people together doing these meditations. Imagine what would happen to the world. That's my dream. And I need you to help me with it. I can't do it without you. I need you to show up when you can, if you want to, and I need you to share it and invite everybody you can think of to come onto this channel and be a part of this. Because I guarantee you, if we could get thousands or millions of people doing this, the world would shift like that. It wouldn't be an issue. I mean, everything would change. One person does it, the world changes. 10 people do it, the world changes 10 times more. We get 1,000, 10,000, 20,000 people all at once, or meditating around the clock because they're watching the videos, after they've been recorded, and everybody meditates together every day. The world would change. Nothing would be the same. You can tell I have a lot of passion for it, a lot of emotion for it. So I invite you to help me. Help me with this. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Of course, I need you to subscribe, like, comment. Go to my Facebook page, Path of the Thunder Wizard. Follow me there and just share and post and, forward these videos and these things I upload to anybody and everybody. Okay? That's what I need from you. All right. And more importantly, I need you help me whenever you meditate. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. Get yourself comfortable in a nice comfortable position, either lying down or sitting down. If you want to put on headphones and cover your eyes, you do whatever you need to do to be comfortable. It doesn't matter. Go ahead and take a deep breath in and hold it. And exhale. Take another deep breath in and hold it. And exhale. Take another deep breath in and hold it. And exhale. Release everything. It's all a bunch of nonsense. None of it is real. Just let it all go. Now just breathe long and deep. Just allow Mother Earth to pull you closer to her, either deeper into your chair, or let your body sink onto the floor or the bed or the couch, wherever you are. This is Mother Earth hugging you because she loves you so much. She doesn't want you to fly away, so she pulls you towards herself because she loves you so much. Go ahead and allow her warmth and her love to surround you. Go ahead and think about whatever it was, if there was something that spoke to you today in my lecture. I want you to think about that. Is it about being surrounded by a family? Is it about feeling love? Is it about knowing what reality is? I want you to just focus on one of those things that you would like to change or resolve. Because we're going to fix that right now. All right, we're going to chant the Hua breath a little bit just to get our frequency going, to get our pineal gland activated. So inhale and chant with me. Okay, and bring your attention back to the sound of my voice. Continue breathing long and deep. Now what I'd like for you to do is to focus on your heart center. And feel the energy swirling around. This is where your soul resides, which is in fact God. God lives within you. You call it your soul. You're going to now allow your energy body, your subtle body, to come out through your heart center. And go ahead and float above your body, look down on your body, and send love and gratitude to all of the cells in your body, all of your organs. Just thank your body for allowing you to have such a wonderful vehicle that allows you to travel this third dimension. And now we're going to allow the higher dimensional energy to pull us up to the ceiling, through the roof. Go ahead and look down on the roof of your home or your building and allow yourself to continue to rise up. You can see your neighborhood, you can see your city, you can see your state, you can see the continent that you live on. You continue to fly further and further up, and now you can see that planet Earth is in fact a sphere. And we allow ourselves to break through Earth's gravitational field. Again, that's Mother Earth hugging us. We're going to say goodbye for the moment. We go out through her atmosphere. We now are floating and we're looking at the globe of Earth below us. We are no longer in 3D space-time. We are no longer bound by that human character that we've written. And we can see the sun. Go ahead and say hello to Mother Sun. She, of course, is extremely happy to see you and loves when you say hello to her. And find the moon and say hello to the moon. And we ask that the moon give us the ability to reflect the soul in our meditative mind, that our intuition would be strong, and that our emotions would be balanced. We would experience healing. And now I want you to call your personal guides. If you've never done this before, all you have to do is mentally ask that a light being who loves you and wants to empower you come and guide you through this meditation. Go ahead and call them to you now. Bring your attention back to the sound of my voice. We're now going to send out an invitation to any and all higher dimensional beings of light, whether they be physical or spiritual, or whether they are deities. We are going to ask them to come and empower our meditation. Go ahead and do this now. Bring your attention back to the sound of my voice. Don't worry about what experience you are or are not having. The only thing that matters here is intent. But go ahead and allow yourself to have whatever experience. If you find yourself fantasizing, go ahead and indulge in the fantasy. We are going to allow everything to transpire. We're not going to block anything. And we're not attached to anything either. All right, we now have Our guides and all other beings are with us, and they're very excited. We're now going to focus our attention on a bright light that we see. As we turn away from Earth, we see a bright light off into the distance, just a pinpoint of incredibly bright light. And we feel the excitement of our friends as we begin to glide towards this light. And the closer we get to it, the closer it comes to us. And now we can feel it pulling us toward itself. We pause very briefly and we ask for permission to enter, and of course we are given permission. And we consciously make the deliberate choice to float into this light. And as soon as we do, we are absolutely surrounded and overwhelmed with the intense brightness of it. We can feel the purity and the beauty of it. And we are surrounded by so many beings of light that is beyond count. And they are so excited. You have come home. And they have all been watching you, and they've missed you, and they love you. And you are allowing them to just beam all the happiness and the joy and the love that they experience just by seeing you. Go ahead and continue to relax and breathe deeply. And as you breathe in, allow this joy and this bliss to enter your body and to completely envelop you. Now what I'd like for you to do is to bring to mind whatever it was that was stimulated during the lecture that you would either like to have, you would like to know, you would like to experience, or you would like to be rid of. And you are going to ask that the quantum field of light and all of the beings that are with you, you are going to ask for them to help to give you that experience, whether it is being seen, being loved, being nurtured, knowing that you are part of a family, remembering who you truly are, whatever it is. Go ahead and personally ask this from them now. Go ahead and bring your attention back to the sound of my voice. You can always come back here and finish this discussion or experience. Now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on imagining ourselves being absolutely, completely filled with happiness and joy on the earth that is perfect for us. I want you to imagine where you are, who you're with, what you're doing. Imagine being and having everything you've ever wanted and beyond. Imagine whatever it would be that would put you in a state of absolute orgasmic bliss and happiness, where you could just laugh all day long, be filled with absolute happiness. Bring this idea to your mind right now. And now what I'd like for you to do is to focus this into the center of this ball of light that we are in. And you're going to see it. You're going to see it in front of you as though a picture is being created. If it helps you can imagine yourself there. Create the world around you. Completely immerse yourself in it. Go ahead and touch whatever is in front of you. If there's a plant in front of you, the ground, maybe it's a person, maybe it's an animal, maybe it's a being. Go ahead in this fantasy, reach out and touch and interact with it. And allow yourself to really, really submit to the beauty of it. Allow yourself to be happier than you've ever imagined. Imagine yourself doing that one thing that gives you the greatest possible joy you've ever had in your whole life. Go ahead and bring your attention back to the sound of my voice. You can finish this fantasy whenever you like. You can always come back here and finish this. We're now going to thank the quantum field, and we are going to slowly back out, and we find ourselves back in our 3D space universe, and we look around and we're still with our guides and all of the spirits and all of the deities that have come to be a part of this. They're still surrounding us. They are still with us. They want to know what we're going to do next. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus our energy back towards Earth. We see Earth in the distance. We can feel her excitement. She knows what's coming. And we allow ourselves to glide through space until we are just orbiting around planet Earth. And now what we're going to do is all of the light beings and all of the deities and all of the humans who are here, we are going to completely surround the Earth from all sides. We are connected to each other's energy and we are completely surrounding Earth. What we're going to do now is we're going to chant the whole breath again, but this time what you're going to do is you're going to intend to send this energy through your third eye and or your heart directly into the heart of planet Earth. And we are going to fill the Earth with this sound until it completely bursts from within and is sent out to infinity from all sides. Go ahead and take a deep breath in and chant with me. And go ahead and bring your attention back to the sound of my voice. Continue to breathe long and deep. You can see the energy pulsating through the earth all the way up through her atmosphere, shining out in all directions. You can see and feel that all life on planet Earth is being filled with this energy. And we can see that people are waking up. We can see the dark forces retreating. They cannot stand in this light. Go ahead now and bring your attention to the beings that are with you, your guides, all of the light beings from every dimension, every part of the multiverse. The gods themselves have shown up and are experiencing this. Right now, what I'd like for you to do is to ask them to tell you very important information about who you are that will allow you to shift up to that next level for you, whatever that is. Go ahead and do this now. Attention back to the sound of my voice. Very briefly, what I'd like for you to do is to face your guides, and whatever it is that they told you, I want you to repeat back to them what they said and say, "Thank you, I received this." Do this now. And bring your attention back to my voice. All right, now we are going to say goodbye to all of the light beings that have come to join us, and we are going to allow them to go back to wherever they choose to go, except for our personal guides who will stay with us. Go ahead and say thank you and release them. And now, bring your attention to your guides. And this time we're going to ask if our guides have any specific information that they'd like to give to us. Go ahead and ask them now. And thank your guides for that. You can continue any conversations you need to with them. They will always be there available to you. And you can allow yourself to give them permission to come and visit you whenever they choose. That is completely up to you. But if you want to, you can send out the invitation that they are free to come and communicate with you and help you and empower you whenever they choose. And now we're going to go back to Earth. So focus your energy back onto that beautiful being known as Mother Earth. Allow yourself to fall down through the atmosphere. We can feel her love the moment we come through her gravitational field. We can feel a huge change. We can feel people rising up and shifting. We feel a lot of intense things happening, but Earth is not the same as it was when we started this meditation. You now can see the continent you live on. You can see the state you live in. You can go further and further and see your city. And we close in on your neighborhood. And there's your home. You're now going to float down through the ceiling and just hover there above your body. You've got a lot of energy in your subtle body, and you're going to now send this to your physical body. Imagine how you want your body to look. How do you want your body to feel? Project perfect health and youth on your body. And now you can allow yourself to slowly float back down into your body. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Take another deep breath in. Exhale. Take another deep breath in. Come back into your body and exhale. Rub the palms of your hands together. Place them over your eyes. Feel the warmth of your hands. Inhale the warmth through the eyes into the entire body. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Hold it. Exhale. Rub your eyes. Rub your face. Rub your scalp. Back of your neck. Shoulders, arms, chest, legs. Bring yourself completely back into your physical body. And you're back. So allow yourself to experience this. As always, if you've had a powerful experience, it's good to take a little time and relax first. Go to the beach if you can, take a salt bath, walk in the forest, just be good to yourself. Don't jump into something intense right now. So the construction people quieted down, so we were able to do the meditation. And again, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm not going to say every time I come on live, but I'll make this a regular thing. So again, you don't have to be live. It's just as powerful if you have to work and you come back and watch it after it's been recorded. You'll still be there with us because energy is timeless. And you will change if you do this. I guarantee it. You will not be the same person if you have the slightest intent for this to be a real scenario for you, a real experience. And again, those of you, if you start to have experiences and you start to, have dreams, or if you start to have visitations, if you meditate on your own and, you have the same kinds of experiences we've all had, we are going to be having a live Zoom class discussion group, which you can find at thunderwizard.com. If you subscribe, you'll see the two options, one for the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong and one for apprentices. And you have to be one of those. And if you are, those of you who choose to, so far nobody has, but those of you who choose to, this will be very powerful and just trust me, it'll be worth it. And of course, if you're new to the channel, I do appreciate if you subscribe, like, comment, hit the bell button, go to Facebook and follow Path of the Thunder Wizard. And I put links to videos, if not post videos directly to there. So, feel free to share those with whomever. And share any of these. You can take links from any of my videos and put them on any social media you want. The more that it gets out there, the better. And I encourage you to do the practices. Of course, the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong is the preferred one, and that's like the least expensive because you can go there every month and you've got thousands of dollars worth of practices there. And I also encourage you to go to the shop because I just uploaded the Advanced Rune Shamanism video courses and the Rune Divination video courses, and I'm going to be uploading the Rune Shamanism video courses as well. And there's just no shortage of stuff on there, and I encourage you to engage with them. If you use the shop, if you go here to thunderwizard.com and click on shop, do not purchase anything from your phone app unless you're willing to pay an extra fee. I wish I had known that beforehand, but it is what it is. So if you decide to buy through your phone, just know they're going to charge you. And there are some things that aren't available through the phone. So if in doubt, use your laptop or a desktop. Buy a cheap laptop if you're one of these people that only has a phone. You can buy a cheap $100, $50 laptop and do it. That's it. What else? I'll see if there's any questions here. Rainbow Orchestra says 100 years we'll be entering Treta Yuga. The last big push is now. There's some controversy about that. Some people think that we're in Kali Yuga, and that is based on an very old misunderstanding that was actually created during the height of Kali Yuga. An age is 150 million years. No, that's actually inaccurate. And I think it was Sri Yukteswar 100 years ago who came out with, looked at the text and actually came out and said what the yugas are. And the truth is, according to him, and I believe it, I think history shows this, that Kali Yuga ended right around what we experience as the Enlightenment, right around 1700s. That's when people started going back into Dwapara Yuga, and we started mirroring what Dwapara Yuga was the first time around, which was we were polytheists. We were entering into the age of monotheism. And there's a reason why the age of Pisces, the reason why Christians use the fish as a symbol is because it was the age of Pisces. And that age of Pisces was actually the middle point of Kali Yuga. That's when people were getting burned at the stake just for reading the Bible in their own language. I mean, it was such a horrible time to live. So we're in Dwapara Yuga, which is half and half. Why this is, the shift is happening now, I'm not going to try and put that together. But anyway, I'm not an expert on it, and I don't need any of it to be true. So Treta Yuga in 100 years, maybe not. I don't know. I guess that makes sense. If we're in Dwapara Yuga, we'd be heading toward Treta Yuga. So I think I may have that wrong, but maybe I'm right about that. Anyway, Glitter Goddess question. Is that what people call ascension symptoms? Pain, sadness, depression, anxiety. I call it resistance symptoms. So, people, I think rightly are addressing and calling it ascension symptoms. But if we didn't have any resistance, we wouldn't have any uncomfortable symptoms. We would just explode into bliss. So, yes, what is counterintuitive until you've experienced is that this shift, if you're a third dimensional being, your likely experience is going to be some level of discomfort. Might have physical pain, you might have some kind of illness being released. Obviously the people who aren't open to this are absolutely flipping their lids, and they're becoming more psychopathic and destructive, and they're flipping out. That's obvious. When you what happens to the cockroaches when you turn the lights on? They scatter. So they flip out. Those of us that want to ascend, we're still human, we're going to have to feel all of the impurities. And let me tell you what really it is based on. What keeps people in the third dimension is self-devaluation. The third dimension is run on that. And the narrative within the third dimension, which is like the matrix within the matrix, is 100% fueled by making you feel devalued. So the whole idea of money, the whole idea of governments, the whole idea of, religion has all been based. What is monotheist religion based on? You're sinful, God hates you, he's going to put you in hell. You have to become part of this narrative and mentally accept what we tell you to be saved, and then you'll be okay. As long as you are part of our narrative, you'll be okay. It's all based on self-devaluation, self-hatred, and fear. So that is part of our attachment. So the first thing that happens is that we experience all these things. So yeah, I call them resistance symptoms. But if we relax into it, we can get through this much more quickly. The releases will be intense. You'll have quicker releases. Like I said, I went through periods of thinking I was completely insane, and sometimes just couldn't get through days without just weeping all day, from both being so happy and feeling so full of bliss, and then, I'll feel like I'm losing my mind and I'd cry and, be freaked out. That's just, when you watch the werewolf movies, when the guys turn into werewolves, it's just that transformation. As their body's changing. We are shifting into something else, and so there's going to be a reaction to that. But the more that we relax into it, and the more that we seek the higher dimensional reality, the faster the shift will be. And those of us that are doing the work now, when the shift does come, we will be able to be helpful to those that are going through it. We'll be able to walk them through it. We will know exactly what's happening. And they're flipping out. They'll be afraid. They'll be confused and scared, and we'll be able to walk them through it. So those of you really who are doing this really are star seeds. You really are light workers. If you're called to this, that's the definition of who you are for sure. Thundra, honest feeling. I did this meditation outside tonight with a fire, and I've never felt anything like it. So much love for Mother Earth and elements surrounding me. I can't believe how amazing I feel. Yeah. it's only going to get, I think, more powerful as we continue. As more and more people show up, that veil between this world and the next is going to get thinner and thinner. And I really do believe that we have the power, meaning us here, those of us doing this meditation, we really do have the power if we choose. And I've chosen to accept that I do have the power, and that anybody who comes along with me is, we won't watch the earth shift, we will shift it. We will be the ones. The light beings have said over and over to me, the first time I asked, I said, when is the solar flash going to come? And they said, when you decide. And I thought that was just some weird sort of, metaphorical, nonsensical platitude. And then they kept on saying, no, you don't get it. You're going to do it. When you decide to shift the earth up, it'll shift. You're going to do it. So we really do have this power. And I'm choosing to accept that. And I'm going to spend, my intention right now is to spend the rest of my life doing it. So come along with me. Fim Sample says, I was able to surrender to this meditation more and giggled a bit, which is interesting. Yep. A lot of that kind of stuff will happen. Fim Sample question, I yawned a lot while in the meditation. Is there any connection you can speak about? It's just your body adjusting. Just let your body do what it needs to do. Don't judge anything. Just the only thing that matters is your intent. Pyro X question, is it safe to say 5D is the definition of ultimate perfection? I don't know that I would say that, because there's a 6D and a 7D and an 8D and a 9D and maybe a 10 or 11 or 12D. There's, each time you go up a dimension, because 5D means fifth dimension. That's how I'm using it. Each time you go up a dimension, let's just put it this way. It's like the level of change from 3D to 5D is quantum. I mean, it's not like 2 plus 2. It's like there's 1 and then there's a billion. That's the difference. And each time you go up a dimension, it's like that. So, perfection isn't a specific vibration, because we're part of everything. So we can't say we're imperfect. I mean, this is a perfect laboratory if what you want to experience is isolation and overcoming your fears and your limitations and duality. This is perfect. So again, you can think about it however you want, though. If you want to think of it as ultimate perfection, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. Anyway, Glitter Goddess threw $1.99 at me. And good luck to you as you go to the eye doctor tomorrow. I hope everything works out for you. You can put that in your meditations. Whenever you go to the quantum field, just imagine your eyes being healthy. And you can heal. People who are doing meditations like this, like people who are working with Dr. Joe Dispenza, they're healing themselves. One lady healed herself of blindness, healing themselves of cancer. And all they're doing is the same thing we're doing. They're going to the quantum field and they're just imagining. And the pineal gland, the transceiver, what you imagine there happens here. So there's no limit to what you can think of. So if you make the decision to heal yourself, you can. I'm not saying don't go to the eye doctor. Go so that the eye doctor will go, oh my God, your eyes are completely healed. All right, that's it. Nothing else. Thank you, my friends. As always, I love you. And please remember that you are the most important being that has ever existed. This universe cannot exist without you. I cannot exist without you. Nobody can exist without you. And the universe loves you the most of all. And that we can say that about everybody, but that's how it works. You are loved more than anything and everybody else. and know that you are the most powerful being that has existed. You have created this entire universe. Everything has been created for your pleasure. You are God. Go and enjoy this playground. Do everything within your power to grab onto what you deserve, which is the best of everything all the time. I'm thinking that for you. I see you and I know that you are God, and I bow before you and I thank you for existing. Having said that, my friends, please be good to yourselves. And if you don't shift out of this three-dimensional reality, if the star beings don't come and pick you up in their starship, and if the flash doesn't come for you, I will see you all very soon. Please take good care.